Ah. Hello. Going in. We're entering. It's warm. I don't like that it's warm. Why does it have to be warm? Let me in. We are going to do the chillest activity of all time. We're going to the moon. We're pissing on it. Or something, I don't know. Yippee! The moon. Let's fucking go. Ah, what's this? There's a quest that I won't read. Let's frigging go. Did they put out the last one already? Did you? I thought that was the next patch. Ah. I love that I get to have everything at the same time. Like, it's hot. I'm melting. Everything sucks. And I get to have my allergies. It's fantastic. Yippee! You know what I need? I need like a thing to record myself and transcribe what I'm saying. So I can like do project planning on stream while playing something. And then have a transcript of that. And feed it into like a summarize thingy or something. Or like a formatting thingy. Do they make that? That'd be sick. I bet there's one that's like AI and online, but I don't want that. I just want to yap into the microphone. I don't want it to be sent to the cloud. Oh, I just realized I was at the pharmacy today and I bought ibuprofen and they sold me Tylenol. That's not the same drug. I don't know if that's gonna work. For those who do not know, people have no idea why Tylenol works. Or, paracetamol, which is the generic name. Tylenol's the brand. Nobody knows why it works. Because it was discovered accidentally. That's a whoops. I think this is just the quest you get at the end of each of these. Yes, yes. I'm looking at it. I'm so sad we didn't get to mine the orb. Unbelievable, they sold me the wrong drug. Because when I have, like, joint issues, which I do because I slept in the worst position imaginable yesterday, because I fell asleep on the couch. It's usually, like, inflammatory. So I don't know if paracetamol is going to do shit. Because unlike ibuprofen, paracetamol is not anti-inflammatory. It does nothing to inhibit the main enzyme in the whole vibe there. The whole shit. At the site of the inflammation or the pain. Yes. Yippee. An egg troll quest. How crazy. Whom? You. Ah. Welp. EX plus? That's crazy. I bet that's like some annoying ass fish. I'm in. Time to catch the worst fish of all time. I'm in to try and catch garbage. Okay, I bet you're a mooch of some kind, so let's find the fuck out. We have one bait, yep. Okay. Okay. Am I right? Are you a mooch? Well, you're something. You know, this is what you are. Not that fish, for sure. What do I want to catch here? Not that either. Also not a mooching opportunity. Wild. Something. Okay. Identical cast. Let's use this. Yep. Okay, that's that done. It's a 2 exclamation point fish. Rather late on the capturing window too. That's the wrong button. Ah. One more in. Okay. Let's try the lure. Why not? We have it. Oh. Yippee. Oh. Okay. Was good nothing. Trying to get that up. Nope. Sad. I could just use a cordial, but no. I have 30 minutes, I don't need to waste cordials. I'm gonna Google that idea I had. Is there a thing that does local audio transcription? Because that'd be cool. Whoop. There's whisper, yeah, but that's not what I'm looking for. Okay. Got something. What we got? Neat. I'm gonna cheat a bit. I'm gonna keep this open. That doesn't do shit. I'm not cheating anything, I just realized. I'm cheating only myself. Out of time. Because all I really want to use is this Oxa. Hello? Fish? No? There it is. I'm so sad these don't have funny descriptions anymore. That was like the best part about Ishgard. The funnies. What does that mean, the knife-like form? Is it you? Are you the knife-like form? You are! Damn. Yippee! We got the mission. I'm so good. Well, how does my tool even look? Mostly missing 3. This doesn't even give 3. Okay. That does. That also does. Okay, we're doing this quest. No, I wanna go up. No. Actually, I think I can just teleport. There. Is it this pond? It is! That's funny. Target size? Oh, number and size. Okay. So we want this and then... Did we just get something nice like this? Yeah. Something big. That is not what we're looking for. Okay. Let's find out what we're looking for, because this was only 100. It's 200. Turn this on, turn this on, turn this on. Wait until triple hook. If we can. I don't know if that was the play. We will find out, I guess. Okay, let's just cast it. See if we can make it work. If not, I will cry. Crying it is. Where's the other thingy? Should have done some more, like, exploratory casts. Find what's in this pond. The inverted bus. The turtle and the bus aren't that great. There's an awful lot of those. to get anywhere. Is there a bigger fish in here? Let's find out. Okay. Large jaw. Still just the boss. Okay. Weird. Those seem awfully inefficient to get to 12k on. Snake. Pseudo-Snarky. Still no. Wild. There's the bass again. The bass. The bass. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they want from me. Just gonna keep fishing until I find out. What do they want? Wait, what did I just catch? Oh. So there is something there. Just incredibly rare. Okay. I can work with that. I didn't pay attention, so at least we know what that is now. Burrow shrimp. We know what you want to catch. Just need to do it again. If I'd paid attention to the size, that would have been amazing. No, 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 no. Do, 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 do. I'm completely out of GP. Ba, 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 do, do, do. So you're saying me but fake? That is... No, you can't multi-catch it! No! Sad. I thought you could. Okay. Rude. I think it was bigger. Surely it will just happen now. As I use my most powerful hook, and we'll be immediately done. Sad. Let's do surface slab, actually. I force a big fish. It can't be that one anymore. I can't believe you can't identical cast the good item. That's so sad. The good fish. It is double. It is a double hook. I was not hallucinating. Okay. There's a decently fast one too. Let's see. Maybe we get lucky. That'd be nice. Of course not. I would get lucky. I'm using the card though. Hey, that worked. It's a very long wait. I'm curious. Is it the relic again now? No, that was an inverted bass. Do, 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 do. There it is again. Oh, it's so rude. Keep being debated by it. Do, 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 do. It. Are we getting so close? I believe. Yippee! They are small though. It's frustrating. Use this again. And we can delete the sning from the pool. Gimme. Me. Die. I'm using another card to fuck it. No, no. Yippee! It worked! I've done it. I've gotten gold. Ooh, that's a lot. That's 21. I want that. Because that will get me the points that I need. Where is that? Huh. Yippee! It will be the first time that I've actually finished all of the crafter relics before the next crafter relic releases in the history of crafter relics, which isn't a long history, but still. I only ever made 2 of these. Boop! Okay. Collectability will be scored. Gotcha. That does mean I will probably want big. Because large jaw... Collectability of fish is size-based. That's annoying. Yippee! Let's make that fish unspawnable. And see if we can find something better in these waters. No. Interesting. Very strange. Do we feel modest? Oh, shit. Well, that's not good. Schwang. Yeet. Give me the fish. Now. What the fuck do you want me to catch? Delete the fish again. Let's see if they want me to catch something on this lure. Nope. What do you want from me? I haven't even found the collectible fish. Oof. Ready to fail this mission. Ooh, mooch. Might this be how you get the fish? Yes. That is how you get the fish. I see. That is quite frustrating. Anyway. I once again did not memorize what bait the mooch is on. What size. I need to conserve, like, stuff. Bait. I don't think it's gonna be this type. I don't think it's gonna be small. I'm just... Oh, we lost the bait anyway. How lovely. I think it's gonna be big. You never know what it is until you find it. Three more of those. Come on, bitch. One more. Yay. Yeah. Oh, what can you do? You can try it again. And pay attention this time. Let's find out. Is it you? Was I wrong? No, I don't think I was wrong. Let's deny this fish's existence and see what happens. Oh. Something. Aha. That's how you do that. Could double hook this, but that's a bad idea. Yep. Capture. Catch thingy. Oh, Lamau, okay. Sure. Just hand me the gold then, why don't you? And you finally find out what to do in the game. It's just like, no. No, we'll just give it to you now. Now it's not fun anymore. Oh, you wanted this to be a challenge? Too bad. Number and size of fish will be scored, okay. It feels like a size more than a number quest. Could be a number quest. Let's find the fuck out. The funkiest hook set. That works. But I want to see if we can't find something better. Nice. Yep, okay, there's a 3 here. Ooh, that's good. Oh, it's a snake! Yippee! Anyway, give me another. 2 snake. It's a 1,200 point snake. That's pretty good. I'll get me to 3k immediately. Yippee! Interestingly, getting 3 of that doesn't seem to be enough. I could have used the better hook set. Ah. Yeah, whatever. I don't really need it right now. Because I think I can get this done in this patience window. Yeah, for sure. Oh, nice. Yippee! We have done it. We have achieved 2 gold. Hello, person who's definitely not just a Gilbot farming this content or anything. They would never allow those. Report the fisher. Yippee. Have better fishing rod. Yippee. Version 1.2. Yes. And now we're going to Fishing Hyper Rod. Such a good name. Where are you? You are where we just came from. How lovely. Why do I keep going this way? I think it's just next to it. So good ideas, not the way I need to be going. Ah. No, 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 no. Let's go here. This wasn't the best activity to decide on when I'm tired, to be honest. Because this is not interesting to play. Low engagement type content for me. I get tired doing this. It's a terrible choice. Why did I do this? Size of fish. Got it. Na, 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 na. Boots? Don't mind if I do. Wow. So I guess I want to repeat that, huh? Get the right type of fish. It's the wrong type of fish. That's okay. Yippee! There it is. Ah, I should have done the big game fishing. Ah. I'll try this. Fuck it. Sad. I need to try swim bait. I don't know what that means. I've never tried it. Let's do it. Oh. Interesting. Well, let's wait for some points. Actually, there's no reason to wait like that. So, might as well just cast. Oh. Neat. I don't want it though. Because I feel like just getting number of fish might not be that bad. Actually, I might do the swim bait. I have an idea. Woo! Yeah, we mooching. Because now we can triple hook. And just get 3 of the biggin. If it will let me. Which should be a good amount of points. I got 20k, but... Oh, never mind. Actually 20k, because I got large. I got lucky on that. Damn, 23,000 score. Yippee! That is pretty good. Can't complain. So the X plus, ugh. 3 minutes. What? What do you even want me to catch? That, apparently, would be my guess. Identical cast angle, maybe? Cause, wow. Holy shit. I don't think I'm getting gold on this, but at least I'm getting it finished, which is nice. I have no idea. I have no idea what they would even want me to do there, in general. Is there another type of fish here, or is it just this? Because that might be a triple hook angle, then. There is a small fish. How many points is the small fish? Not that many. That's not the same fish. Missing big game fishing, I think. For this last one. Yeah, I know. I know I'm on a timer. Don't you worry about it, girl. Okay, there's the fish. We can maybe get somewhere. But it is difficult, for sure. Well, a couple more. Could double hook this. Which would maybe just put me over. Come on. A bit slower. Yes. Does it just put me over the gold star? Come on! Fish faster! Bruh! That's so unfair. That is such bullshit. That is such bullshit, Square Enix. That you don't let the fishing action finish when the timer runs out is incredibly unfair. Cannot say I love that. Okay. I don't remember which one you are. I'm just gonna fish. Are you the one? Don't know, I'm just better off doing... No, you're the one with Stellar Hook set. You're not the one I'm better off doing the thing. Do, 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 do. You're the one that just has naturally occurring big fish. Come on. Do the thing. I know you wanna. That's not the right fish. That's the opposite of what I asked for. Come on. Come on. I believe in you. Doesn't want to give me the guaranteed. That's so sad. At least I finished the quest, but... me. Come on! I know you wanna. He doesn't want to bite. That's so sad. Yippee! Finally. Faster. Oh my fucking god, I think I'm gonna lose my buff. To very quickly spam this, and then try to catch again. Woo! Okay! I could have... Wow. I forget how many points these give when you catch them with still a hook's head. So that's for sure a win, because just the point. Boop! Yippee! What's my totals look like? I don't think I need to go for 6. I think 6 is just gonna happen. I think I need to go for like 4 or 5. That one again. Maybe. What's my best way up there? Just go back into the tunnel and teleport up? A snake. Oh. There's been a snake here the whole time? Well, it's a twisty at least. Could be a snake. Could have been a snake back in the day. It for sure is a twisty. Marbling looks very snake-like. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Yeah. No, 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 no. Right. Yet. This one was the one where I needed to mooch for the collectible. Mooch small, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, it does look like... This is the one with limited bait. Yeah, okay. It's the one where I want to do that and then modest lure. To try and get the other small fish. And then I want to mooch with the other small fish. And I just fucked that up. Okay, that ends the mooch opportunity. Got it. I didn't know that. That's frustrating. We can just oh, never mind. I'll just get fucked then. That's fine. No, actually, I don't want that. I lose the bait, but I'll keep the gathering points, which is slightly worth it, I guess. I want a small, please. Second surface slab. Ah, the buff's gonna run out. No. The luck has run out from last time. It's a very GP heavy mission. Because you want the buff active. Obviously. Modest lure. Do not forget modest lure. I do need to spaffle hand, I think. Just because of the gathering point requirement. Because I have time, what I don't have is tries. What I don't have is unlimited bait. No. Every time I want to click on it, it goes away. It's so maddening. Oh, while my GP takes up, I'm gonna go get the drink from the fridge. I had myself delivered some juice of orange. Because it is hot. I'm so tempted to find out what an AI viewer is. But I don't want to go on that website and get a virus. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is fine. And we mooch. Yep. And then we use the swim bite. And this for fun. Yippee! Yeah, as I predicted, even though it's not a lot per mission, the 6 just kinda happens. The 4 and the 5. Those are the ones I need to really, like, get, I guess. The one will be finished, whatever. The 5 will also go faster than the 4 just because of how much fewer points I need. And I don't have a mission for it up anywhere. Just in this set. That would be sick. Yeah, I'm gonna go down there again. I'm walking an awful lot for Fisher. Because they are, like, they bundled so many of the fishing holes together. The other gatherers have, like, maybe 2 areas on the map for quests. Fisher is apparently a bit more. Although when I did do the other 2, we had less map unlocked. So I don't know how true that actually is. I guess this map, this area would have always been available. The only fishing hole we've used that wasn't always available, like, is not 2 of them, I guess, is this one and that one. Yeah, you're that quest. Oh no, you're the quest where I wanted to mooch small. Right. Small fish, please. Yippee! That's not the right small. Go away. Give me the correct. Give me the correct fish. You fuckers. That's not the correct fish. This is actually impossible to fail quest with how much time they give you. How would you ever not get 37k even... Because you have unlimited bait. Oh, nice. I'm saving you. And... I'm catching you again. Ah, sad. Sad. But like, no matter what you do, like, how are you not getting the thing? How are you ever not getting the score? With unlimited bait. Because to be honest, I could probably get the 37k score just doing this. No, 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 no. Yeah, I could. Like, that alone, small, is 2k. Yeah. This isn't even a challenge. And then there's the one with like 7 bait. But the first time I didn't even know what the fuck to do. Could do it faster, but not fail. How neat. And then we catch another one of the sand lizards. My favorite fish. Lizard. Yippee! I'm getting gamba. Need to do drone bits. Oh, that one would be worth. All right. Guess we're going back. Back again. I'm using my drone bits. Get drone module. Gamba. This one was just catch many fish fast. Why did I do that? Hold on. Why did I turn this on? Just catch fish in 25 minutes. 5 minutes. It's not the most craziest of things. Doesn't even matter which fish. I just need enough. Vacuum worm. Vacuum worm is funny. Oh, nice. Whoa! Where's it? The craziest fish. I'm popping this. And hoping that I didn't pop it too early. Should be fun. Yeah. Is fine. Alright. Ah, sad. At least I got like 700 pseudo crabs out of that one. Hit. I'll get gold, no matter what I do. Unless I spam hook and waste 2 minutes, I guess. Another fossil. Okay. Fine then. Whee! So much fish data. Yippee! The gold streak. Oh, that's up again. I think I can just about finish my 4s, which would be very nice. Oh no, I'm gonna do a couple of these. Nuts! Got him. Oh, nice. Just around the corner. Yippee. Yippee! Whoa. Always with these weird locations for these, I swear. Hmm. Yeah. I'm so tired. I hate when it's this warm. Sleep quality is just gone. I should make a donation goal so I can buy myself AC. Gonna do that. Just bits goal. How much would it be? Like what? 30,000 bits? Is that 3,000? No. No, it's factor 100, so yeah. 300,000 bits. Easy. Make a bit skull, 300k. I need AC. That would be the cost to get, like, fixed AC installed in this apartment. I could just get a mobile unit, I guess, and put it in somewhere. They have these split, like, split portable systems now. Where instead of having a hose that blows hot air out, you have you still have like the refrigerant line, and that's a hose, and that one goes like out the window or something. The main advantage of these is that you can install them yourself without an AC technician, because the refrigerant loop is closed. But they still aren't that optimal for rentals, because you still need to figure out how to get the pipe out. But they do make them. And then there's also ones where the hose is not detachable. Those you would have to somehow get through the window. But they all feel designed for sliding windows. Not what we have here in Europe, which is mostly hinged windows. We don't really make AC for that. That's easy to install. Because you need... The challenge is you need to figure out how to insulate the gap in the window that the hose is going through, or that the hot air is going out of. Because we haven't figured out how to destroy hot yet with electricity. We've just figured out how to move hot. And how to create hot. But nobody has determined how to destroy hot. What is impressive, though, and a lot of people kind of underestimate this, is that the ability to move hot is actually pretty good. Because you can move hot with better like higher efficiency than you can create hot. Which does seem like it shouldn't be possible, but it is. Oh, I love items that I don't want. Oh. That's the same item twice. And I bet I already have this hairstyle, yep. I didn't have the minion though, that's neat. Well, anyone need the worthless hairstyle, hit me up. Oh, this music is grating on me, but... I'm gonna look that up now. I've been looking up a lot of things today. I wanna know... Water split. You're window mounted. Oh, they do even demo this for doors. That's crazy. Huh? Oh, that looks like an absolute nightmare. Oh. Yeah, mono block. AC. Damn. Yeah. Those are expensive to run. Efficiency's kind of shit. Not gonna lie. Guess I'll just suffer. I'm usually fine with a fan, it's just like this year it's especially brutal. I wish AC was just more common here. I wouldn't even have to run it during the day, I would just need to run it during the night. Day is okay if it's warm. Depending on how much electricity it costs, I might run it during the day. But yeah. But I don't think I'm going to be putting a like fixed installed AC in here. Unless I buy the place. I'm much more likely to ask my my landlord for permission to put a hole in the wall for one of those movable split systems, because they do have them where the hose comes apart. Okay. The impossible to fail mission. Once again, we are here. Oh, nice. Immediately just getting the thing. That's crazy. Yippee. That's one. Oh, we just keep going, I guess. Small fish, please. Wow. Maybe he just wants me to have these right now, huh? Yippee! And that's another 5k score. Can we do it a third time? No. But that's okay. I should use this. Yippee! Now we use this. And then we activate it. With the intent of using that on it. And if it's big, that will be really stonks. And if it's not big, I will be sad. It was big. We've achieved stonks. Again, damn. Crazy. Yippee! I need to get one more. And a couple of those should finish, huh? I'm pretty sure this will be enough for to get me over the limit there. I don't know if it gives 3. Pretty sure whatever else it gives will be done too. Oh, it just gave 6. I think it gives 1. And 4. That's fine though. I need 2, 3, and 5. Actually, technically I just need 5. 2 and 3 will happen on their own. And if they don't happen on their own, there's always, like, the crazy number missions in this area. Like this one? I'm definitely done with 6. I could try and find better missions for my goal right now. But I think this actually is the most efficient mission to gain 5. Yeah, this one gives just 23. Actually, this one would be really good if it showed up again. But I'm done with 5. It shouldn't take that long. It's 235 points that I need. Which I don't think will be one mission. At least won't be this mission, because it only gives 15. But I might miscalculate, so who knows. I don't know why I threw that without activating multi-hook. Oh well. Multi-hit, please. Let's see if we get lucky on that triple hook. We can pull them out large to get 6 thingies. Nope. Sad. That's fine. I'll just use this. Multi-hack. We will just do it again. Surely this time it will work. Yippee! It's just number of fish, which is super interesting. No. You know what I also need to go look for? A fucking prison map for Saturday. Still haven't got around to doing that. I'll figure it out tomorrow. Give me the fish. So many worms. I've gotten every vacuum worm of all time. I don't know if this will be enough. 15 is close to what I need. Is the thing. Just go over for no reason. Ah. 50 short. So sad. I did just gold star, so I can go pick a better mission. By better, I mean exclusively just more fun to play. There isn't even one that has the number I need. Up there. This is just insane. Class C missions just get crazy sometimes. 5 should be enough. Largest fish caught. Okay. Now we do this. Prevent that fish from respawning. Because this should be a bigger fish. It was. But I don't think it was the fish I'm looking for. Okay, very good. Come on. Did we get out of here? Nah. Madge. What the fuck? Is this a mooch as well? I'm just getting mega unlucky. Who knows? Nah. I'll just take it. It's 50 anyway, fuck it. Alright, need 200 and 300. 2 has slightly higher priority than 3. That said. They should just get both of them. Quick fish. Okay. That is the most doable quest of all time. Catch 12 fish in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Yeah, that's an easy quest. I don't even need to wait for shit, I can just do that. Like, that's 6 already. Just wait a second. I think that we're just done. It's 21. It's times 10, so it's 210. It will finish 3, it won't finish 2. I know it's more, right? Silver was times 10. Still didn't finish 2. Very sad. However, it just immediately respawned, so yeah, whatever. We're just doing it again immediately. Yippee! Do the same quest again. Whoop whoop. Huh. I've not done this. Oops. Is there a mech opera now? There is. I didn't have to do that, but whatever. I still have like 36 of them. And they aren't exactly an expensive item. Anyway, that's done. Yippee! And we're done. Yay! I'm free! I don't have to play this content anymore for at least like a month. Maybe even 2. Isn't that wonderful, chat? The final one. Yippee! Hyper Rod. Is glowing. Yippee! The sci-fi rod is mine. Yes. Behold the fishing hyper rod. Oh, we're done here. I could in theory try to do any of these for those things. But I am also suck. These are all expert crafts and all difficult. And I don't know how to do them, because I'm bad at them. Hello. But in theory you can get these, which you can exchange for those. Like 100 of these become one of those, and then 60 of these become an amount. But also, actually, I'm wondering how expensive these still are. Let me just because they are tradable. You can buy these. Let me find out if it's even worth trying to grind for it. Hello. How are you? How is you? How you is? How's? Well. Yeah. How does it? That's how I spell it. What? High demand? Yeah, that's not that expensive, actually. I could finish for 19. Why are these so expensive? That makes no sense. But that's doable. If I could get one more. These are all like clean. Ugh. I feel like I could buy 2 of these. And then I guess I'd have to buy that. Or grind like 1 more booklet and then buy them. And then I'd have the mount. Yeah, but I don't want the mount badly enough to do that. I do not want them badly enough for any of that shit. Anyway, the boring crafting content is over forever. Until like 2 months from now, I guess. Yippee! I was just sent a thing. One moment, please. I'm looking at thing. I've looked at thing. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Well. I don't know what to do with the rest of stream. Hum. And I was already yapping. I looked up AC earlier and saw it's hella expensive. I don't like the concept of one of those, like, the ones with the air hose coming out of them. Because, like, first of all, those are loud. Because you have the compressor in the room with you. And then second of all, those are also incredibly inefficient. Because so much of the heat kind of leaks back into the room from them. And then they do make models where the business end goes outside. They have those. They have those even in variants that you can install yourself. Where you where it's like pre-assembled. Those still have the issue of you having the window open, though, is the thing. But when you kind of venture past that and you go into, like, properly installed territory, most of the ones that you need to, like, properly get installed in your home, they are delivered disassembled without refrigerant in them. And that means even if you do all of the installation yourself, like you drill the hole in the wall, you take care of the pipes, you take care of the electricity, you take care of fucking sealing the hole you drilled into the wall, you would still have to pay like about $1,500 for an AC technician to come out and fill the AC unit with the refrigerant, because a lot of people don't know this. Even the refrigerants that are like rated safe in terms of being a health hazard, which are the only ones that are legal, even those are an environmental hazard. So you're not allowed to touch the AC loop yourself. That has to be handled by a professional. And you can get into real trouble if you try to do it yourself. Besides the fact that you cannot even buy the refrigerant without a license. That's like issue number one, is you cannot even get the stuff. If you do not have a refrigeration license, you cannot buy it, like physically. They will not let you. They will not sell it to you. And then if you try to cut it open, you can be fined for pollution. Like if you try to fix your AC yourself or something. It's very annoying. But yeah, I don't think I'm buying an AC. Because the efficiency thing is the main issue I have with the ones that are in your room. Like with those monoblock systems. Because they're actually not that much louder than a fan anymore. The loudest model I could find that you can buy new is like 43 dBA. Which is not that much. Like typically if you have a fan running, that thing will be louder. But the efficiency is the issue. Like 43 dBA isn't an issue. Frequency might be a thing for some people, because compressor noise is a different noise than fan noise. An AC, when it's running, sounds like a fan is running next to your refrigerator. Because refrigerators are also an AC, but different. They use the same technology. It's just there isn't a fan strapped to it. Instead, it's in a box. But if you do not get annoyed by an old fridge running, you will not get annoyed by an AC running, by a modern one. A modern monoblock. You shouldn't cheap out on it though, because the cheaper ones are very rattly. Because they don't tune, like they don't buy good fans, and they don't buy good pumps. You do need to at least put some money on the table. But the bigger issue is, like, if I wanted a monoblock AC, there's obviously, like, first of all, how well is my home insulated? That's like the first question. If you get a lot of sun, or your insulation is very bad, you're going to get about double the cooling requirement per square meter. If I wanted to cool just my bedroom, which is about 20 square meters, I would be looking at anywhere between 1.2 or 2 kilowatts of refrigeration that I need to get out of one of those monoblock systems. And because they are so inefficient, you're going to need to put about the entire amount of power in that it'll be able to cool, which is horrible. The refrigeration cycle is actually a few degrees more efficient than 100% when it comes to wattage transferred compared to wattage consumed. Easy med bar. Oh wow. Oh wow. But yeah, that's the thing. They are really expensive. Where throw? I don't fucking know. It hates you. You were specifically scammed. Scammed aboard. Here, I'll refund you. You have been refunded. The channel points are back in your account. I don't know what to do. Well, not my problem. Like, oh no, I'm not going to have shit thrown in my face. What do you expect me to say, Malva? No. But yeah, as nice as it would be to have that, I'm not sure. Because the split ones are difficult to install, and then we're already looking at like €1,000 for the unit. Yeah, just cooling my my bedroom would be like a cool like 100 kilowatt hours per year, which isn't nothing. And then if we assumed I wanted to cool my entire apartment, I would technically need anywhere between 4.2 and 7 kilowatts of cooling. No, I'm just boiling in my flat regardless. This has nothing to do with the weather. Or the month, I guess. It's just usually pretty warm in here. So trying to actually meaningfully have a cool apartment summer round would actually be anywhere between like 400 and 700 kilowatt hours per year of cooling, and having an AC unit that is only about 100% efficient would make that very expensive. Na 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 na. And yeah, expensive. Math is. What do you mean math isn't mathing good, mother? I'm talking about a monoblock AC. The one with the hose where you pump the air through. Actual split ACs are much more efficient. Especially because you don't need to have a window open to use it. You can actually have your apartment sealed. Instead of having poor insulation at the point where all of the hot is going. Na, 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 na. I'm trying to find numbers, but they don't want to tell them to me. Yeah, okay, I found it. A regular AC, like the ones that are like actually built into the apartment, where the compressor is outside, there's a refrigerant pipe running through the wall, and then the condenser is inside, are about 300% efficient. They have about 300% efficiency. Every watt of power put in produces about 3 watts of cooling. That's because the refrigeration cycle is cheating. Or 350% even. It's crazy. Were you not able to take the good train? You're a firm believer in the laws of thermodynamics, so how? Because you're not creating or destroying energy, you're moving it. You can move a canister of gas with your hands, and you're not using like 20,000 calories to do it, right? The 3 watts of cooling is throwing you off? Yes. So what that actually means is that the AC is able to move 3.5 watts of heat energy to the other side of the cycle for every watt that the pump and compressor consume. Because the thing consuming the power is not the thing doing the cooling. What is doing the cooling is the condensation and boiling of the refrigerant in the pipes. But what is consuming the power is the compressor that is moving the refrigerant through the pipe. The refrigeration cycle is exploiting the properties of very specific and very dangerous chemicals to be able to boil at very specific temperatures and pressures, and to condense at very specific temperatures and pressures. Like, the reason we use the refrigerants we use is because you can get them to boil at room temperature at a pressure that is reasonable to produce with a compressor in a pipe. And then what you do at the other end is you just lower the pressure. You just make the pipe thicker, basically. And by making the pipe thicker and lowering the pressure, the refrigerant will condense. And condensation requires heat exchange. A gas cannot condense without expelling all of the heat in it until it is below its boiling point. Which means if a pressure change forces a gas to turn into a liquid, the container of that gas will heat up by the heat energy that is the differential between the boiling point and the temperature of the gas. And on the other side, what we're doing is we are condensing, we are forcing it to boil. And that has the same effect. If a pressure change causes you to boil, causes a fluid to boil, then the fluid must absorb heat from its environment until it reaches its boiling point. Because the boiling point is non-negotiable. You need to be at it to phase change. Either above to boil or below to condense. And that is what the refrigeration cycle is exploiting. And the chemicals we use for this are extremely hazardous to the environment, which is why getting an AC installed is so expensive. The actual unit only costs about 1,500 euros. But getting it installed is the expensive part, because you need a licensed technician who is properly educated in how to not destroy the environment when installing AC. It's very fun. Some good shit. So, refrigerants all have really annoying names. The most commonly used refrigerant in brand new systems is R32, or very rarely R454B, which are brand names. For what is technically no longer the chemical category that you're talking about, because we no longer use chlorine-based fluorocarbohydrates. The chlorine part is banned now, cause it turned out they not only is that specific combination very bad for the ozone layer, it is also not always inert, and sometimes the chlorine falls out of it. Not good. Sometimes the chlorine falls out of bond of the molecule. Not great. So, usually these days, we use difluoromethane, which is a very simple gas. It's 1 carbon, 2 hydrogen, and 2 fluoride atoms. It's a very easy to make gas. It's still, like, awful for the environment, but at least it doesn't kill you. Why does it smell like pool? That's the neat thing. Chlorine doesn't have a smell. Chlorine is an odorless gas. The pool smell is actually chloroamine, which is the chemical bond of chlorine with ammonia. The neat part about dying to your AC is that you don't even find out about it. So yeah, there's a reason why they were banned. One thing about difluoromethane is that you need more of it. Generally, and it's not as safe to transport in a sealed loop, which is why fridges and cars usually use tetrafluoroethane instead of difluoromethane, which is slightly more complex, but safer. And then the one that you are probably thinking of, the hydrochlorofluorocarbon, commonly referred as Freon, which was the brand name for it, because it was a very popular refrigerant back in the day, was chlorodifluoromethane, which is an excellent refrigerant. Unfortunately, it will kill you in more ways than one. So that one was banned a while ago. Also, chlorine is also the main reason why it destroyed the ozone layer, by the way, because the chlorine reacted with the oxygen in the ozone. Regular refrigerants are bad for the environment in slightly different reasons than the old stuff. Slightly different reasons that still make it necessary to be handled by a professional. But at least it won't kill you if it leaks. Yeah, chlorine and oxygen are kind of best friends forever. Very fun. Very fun. But yeah, they kind of just like made gases and used the first one that worked for refrigeration. And like, don't get me wrong. The discovery of the refrigeration cycle is probably one of the most meaningful discoveries in human history, because it meant that instead of having to buy literal ice to keep things cool, you could now use electricity. Or, I guess, a gas-based compressor would also work. You could now use, like, a compressor, which is much easier to come by machine, to keep things cold as long as you had somewhere to dump the heat. Oh, speaking of speaking of speaking of things, did it already happen? I don't remember. Also, Flora literally just started watching that. I do not remember that happening. I don't know what episode it's in. But speaking of the laws of thermodynamics, turns out, might be wrong. There is a non-zero probability that the laws of thermodynamics, like a lot of laws that were observed back in the day while looking at the Earth and the solar system, might actually not hold up on a universal scale. Oops. Yep. There actually currently is no solid proof that the first law of thermodynamics actually is true. For the whole universe. It is very much true for the frames of reference that it was observed in. You cannot make a free energy device on Earth, but it might not be true for the entire universe. In theory, heat death is a different story though. Because heat death is not because of the law of thermodynamics that might be wrong. Heat death is because the third law of thermodynamics, which as far as we know is still true. The one that might be wrong is the first law of thermodynamics. The one that says energy may not be created or destroyed. It might actually be possible to destroy or create energy on a universal scale. Oops. But as far as we are able to observe from Earth, the third law, which is the one about entropy, the one that will cause heat death in a trillion years, might still be true. At least we haven't found an indication that entropy doesn't exist. If we find out that entropy doesn't exist, we have a problem though, because entropy so far is the only law of physics that is not time symmetrical. So if entropy isn't real, then there is nothing that is. There's no time symmetry in the universe. There's time symmetry in the universe, and if there's time symmetry in the universe, time might actually be a local phenomenon. Again, oops. But so far, time seems to exist universally. It's very fun. The reason why time symmetry matters is because time only exists if there is processes that do not look the same no matter what direction they're going. And of all of the fundamental physical processes, the only one that doesn't look the same in terms of the forces that are happening and the state changes that are happening, where you can actually tell what state was before and what state came after, is entropy. Entropy is the only proof we have scientifically that time exists. Fun. Which obviously time exists because we do experience time, but it is quite weird to only have one law of physics that actually is time dependent on how it works. And if it isn't, the universe might be much weirder than we thought it would be. And we still have all of the weird shit going on in the universe. Like, where is all of the meta coming from? What is causing the universe to expand? Why? What the fuck's going on with that shit? What's going on with dark matter and what's going on with dark energy? What the fuck is that stuff? Who made it? Why is it here? Yeah, the thing that's accelerating the expansion of the universe is dark energy. Dark as in we don't know what it is. Energy of which we do not know what it is of. And then dark matter, kind of conversely, is just the name, the umbrella term for all of the matter that from gravitational observation of the observable universe must be there, but we can't see it. Because we can relatively accurately estimate the mass of distant objects. But if we tally up even like generous estimates of all of the mass of all of the objects we can see from Earth, the universe comes up about, what was it, 60% too empty? Which is kind of a lot. Like, usually in science, statistically significant is like a 0.5%, like a 5% error, and that's 60. There's definitely something going on here. And we haven't found it. The, one of the theories for why the universe is heavier than it appears to be to the naked eye is actually a theory that Destiny completely bungled in its lore, which is the concept of sterile neutrinos. A sterile neutrino is a particle that only interacts with gravity and nothing else. And there is a line in Destiny for one of the overworld events where Taken spawn in, where one of the NPCs says over comms that they are detecting a high amount of sterile neutrinos in the area. Which, how? Do you have detection devices in the tower that are precise enough to detect a localized increase in gravity while also being able to interact every other fundamental force to make sure it cannot be anything but sterile neutrinos? Also, are you implying that Taken are made out of sterile neutrinos? In which case, why can I see them? I love when sci-fi just takes a scientific term and just hopes that none of the audience ever look it up. That is my favorite thing. But yeah, sterile neutrino is one of the possible explanations for dark matter, which would simultaneously explain why it doesn't appear on any of our measurements. And then also why the universe is so much heavier. And what they mean by the universe is heavier is that the way that the objects in the universe behave doesn't make sense. under the gravity that the objects imply to be having. Like, that is what they mean when they say the universe has more mass. Is with the mass we can see, the orbits don't make sense. They should be different. And where shit is and how it is clumping together should be different. There's another theory that it's just like in a region of space where there's no light and itself doesn't have any black body radiation. There's a lot of regions of space where there's just seemingly nothing there, so that's where the dark matter could be. If it doesn't radiate anything and it's too far away from anything radiating something to block or absorb it in a detectable way, that would also be a reason for why they can't find it on any of the instruments. It is quite insane that we have machines good enough to even know these things. It's very crazy. Now, technically, you feel the gravitational pull of your bed all the time. Good night. Yeah, science is wild. Science is crazy. Space is very cool. Also, all of you are wrong. Dark matter is actually just snake. I'm just hiding whenever you point a telescope at me. I'm shy. Just go away. I don't want to be photographed without my consent. So rude. Oh, my personal favorite, like, wait, what moment that scientists had is, so when Einstein calculated the speed of light and formulated his theories of relativity, he didn't expect the math to still work above the speed of light, because if you found the speed limit of the universe, obviously all of the math describing relativity in the universe should break down if you go over it. Interestingly, it doesn't. The math still works out if you go faster than the speed of light. Now that in itself is not the weird thing. That's not the moment where scientists went like, because Einstein didn't think his theory was completely correct. The reason why scientists are now, decades after his death, going, is because everything else in his theories was repeatedly, empirically proven to be correct. Everything else, as far as we are able to tell in the theory of relativity, completely accurately predicts everything that it should be able to accurately predict. So the question is, if the math still works out above the speed of light, could there theoretically be particles going faster than the speed of light? And they gave a name to those particles. The theoretical particle that is able to exceed the speed of light is called the tachyon. Now, the tachyon has a very funny property. Because it is faster than the speed of light, the tachyon actually travels back in time. Which is a problem. If tachyons are real, time travel is real. Because if you go faster than the speed of light, you go backwards. Because speed of light makes everything from your frame of reference instant. A photon does have a lifespan of 0. It is created and then immediately crashes into something somewhere. Photons do not experience time. Everything slower than a photon does experience time, depending on how fast it is going. The faster you go, the slower time moves for you in relativity to things going slower than you. So if you go faster, it needs to go the other way. Slight problem. So, tachyons might be real, and if tachyons are real, then time travel might be possible. The biggest proof we have that tachyons are not real is that nobody has traveled back in time yet to tell us. But that's a weak proof, because even if time travel was possible, you would obviously have no way of telling, without knowing how it works, how far back you can actually go. Like, you know, maybe the best time machine that humanity will ever be able to build will be able to send you back like 3 minutes. Oh, bitches wanna tell us? No. Why wouldn't they? Yes. Theoretically true. Also, this would then actually be like same universe time travel. There's another type of time travel that, under the assumption that the many worlds interpretation of quantum theory is true, is already possible, which is the time travel that most stories too cowardly to write good time travel are going for. Which is, you don't actually travel back in time, you just travel to a parallel universe that is exactly the same as your universe, just X amount of time in the past, from your point of view. Those are the time travel scenarios where changing the past doesn't affect the future. Or rather, where changing the past doesn't affect your past. Where changing the year you have traveled into does not affect you. Because you never traveled back, you just traveled sideways into a parallel timeline. But you cannot actually go back to your own past. You can just go back to a past. If you can go back to your past, you have always done so. Because the only way that time travel in the same timeline is not a paradox is if it always happens. Same timeline time travel has to bootstrap itself. There is no first time it happened. Because that would be impossible. There's only first time you experience it, I guess, which is the first time you experience it. But you've already done so by the time you're doing it. Time travel is complicated. Which is also why most physicists hope that it doesn't work. Because if time travel works, then we have a lot of theories that need revising. And it's not for lack of trying, by the way. People have tried to build time machines for a very long time. To no success so far. It would create so much work. Yes, exactly. Ah. Yes. I could yap about what I learned today, I guess. Other than what I've already DM'd you earlier. I'm currently trying to single-handedly save the tech industry from itself. At least the part of the tech industry that I'm directly involved in and can affect. Because I have taken up the endeavor to educate my coworkers about AI. Because I have noticed that a lot of my coworkers have no idea what they're using and are not aware of the capabilities and limits of the technology, which is a problem, as you can well imagine. I have more than once in the last month heard people say, how can I do thing I don't know how to do with AI? To which the only valid answer is you don't. The answer is no. And I'm working on something. I have another coworker who might get in on it, and that will decide the scope. I'm working on either a presentation to my team, or I am working on a full workshop for my team to kind of teach them how AI works. And that has a segment that I may or may not include that actually explains how the technology works, like how inference works. And on its surface, AI inference is actually pretty simple. It's just a lot of math. You do a lot of math to a thing, and then once you're done with the math, you can use the result of the math to make predictions about the thing you put in. Do I whip out... Do I want to explain this in detail? Do I want to beta the part of the presentation on my Twitch chat? Maybe. I'm considering if I want to go in depth right now. Because it is, like, at least a couple of steps you need to understand. And the files are on my work computer, so I can't use them for stream. Unfortunately. I should have thought about that. I should have written this down. But essentially, I'm going to do the TLDR. So if you put text into a transformer, the first thing you do is you turn the text into tokens. Tokens are just numeric representations of pieces of text generated using a fixed dictionary. Like, you have a dictionary that just says, hello is 17. And that dictionary is used, is created once. The conversion is pretty easy because you're just looking up numbers in a dictionary and outputting a series of numbers. And a lot of transformer networks use the same so-called tokenizer, the same thing that turns words into numbers. The interesting part about it is that it will contain whole phrases sometimes. So, kind regards might get its own number. And then very frequently you have fragments that are assigned numbers, like random letter combinations. These things are usually designed in such a way that very common turns of phrase in the language the researchers are interested in are given their own token. And then you just kind of pad out the end of the list with tokens so you can make any word that the dataset missed. And then what you do is you try to find the most efficient representation of the text as tokens. But you're not actually done. So you've taken text and you've turned it into a list of numbers. But the numbers don't mean anything to the model, because neural networks don't actually operate on numbers, they operate on vectors. So they don't operate on a single number, they operate on a point in space. It's just that usually vector space for neural networks isn't three-dimensional, but a couple of hundred dimensions. No big deal. So the second step is a model-specific lookup table that turns the numbers into points in the vector space that the model was created with. And these will be different for every model because these are generated during training. And then what you do is you do math on all of the vectors. Actually, every token has 3 vectors. And you just do a lot of multiplication. A lot of multiplication. A lot of very high-dimensional multiplication. And by the end, what you get out is one vector, just one. One vector in the very complex high-dimensional space that the model was trained on. Or created with, I guess. Trained as. And then, the part where you're done with all the math is the part where you start. Yes, he is going to steal the moon. The part where you have done all of the math is the part where you start doing the prediction. Because if you've done all of the very complicated math, you've created a vector that points in the region of the vector space where the most likely next thing in the sequence of input values lives. That is the result of all of the math, is one vector that points in the area of vector space where the most likely next thing is going to be. And then what you do is you take the dot product of all of the static token vectors with the vector you calculated with all of the math, and the vector with the highest dot product result is the most likely next token. And that is how an LLM predicts text. And then what you do to make the LLM more useful is you tune the values. You will, for instance, clamp the list. You will say, I want the top K tokens, where K is a number, is an amount. If you want the top 50, if top K is 50, you only look at the top 50 results. The 50 most likely next tokens. Or you might say, I want just a list of tokens so that the added probability between them is 80%. That is what top P means. A top P of 0.8 just tells the system only predict from the tokens where, starting with the most likely token, the sum of the tokens is the smallest above the threshold. So keep adding tokens starting with the most likely one until you get over the number in the top P threshold. If you set this below 1, you can imagine this will go very quickly, because most of the time the most likely token is going to have a very high probability. So you're going to get like maybe 3 tokens back. And then what most LLMs will use is temperature. And temperature is a weight that is multiplied proportionally to the position in the list of the token with the probability of the token. A lower temperature means that the most likely tokens are going to get likelier and the less likely tokens are going to get unlikelier. So a temperature below 1 skews to the top of the list, and a temperature of 0 is essentially just picking the most likely token, and you could have just not done all of the math. A temperature of 1 is unchanged. If the temperature is 1, you're not modifying the list at all, and if the temperature goes above 1, you're actually strengthening the less likely tokens. And then the last step in sampling, which is what this part of the prediction step is called, the last step of sampling is just randomly picking one of them using their probability as weight. And that's how LLMs work. That's all they do. They do a lot of math to calculate the statistical probabilities of which of all of the fragments of sentences they know about is the most likely to be the next one following the input. And they return this list to you, and then you do some more math to just randomly pick one of them. And this randomly picking one of them is the only reason why LLMs don't produce the same output every time for the same question. That, and because usually the platforms will include random text in the input, or like randomness somewhere, but or will take information in. Just because you're asking the chat system the same question doesn't mean your input is the same. You might not control that section of the input, but the provider might attach the current day and time to your input by prepending it, which wouldn't be the same query. You can only really get the same results if you control the whole thing. And then there's other fun things. Because you usually run this on graphics card hardware, graphics cards are actually non-deterministic in their parallel execution order. So depending on what graphics card you run this on, you might get slightly different probabilities for the tokens, even if the input is exactly identical. And then obviously, what will be different between each execution by design is the randomization seed that picks the next token. And that's how this model works. The genius part in design about the transformer model is that it was the first neural network where every token in the input was multiplied with every other token in the input to create the predictor token. Older text predictor systems would process the text tokens sequentially to create the predictor, which meant that text that was earlier, like information that was earlier in the text, would get lost because the token, if you have a very long sentence and you have a noun in the beginning and an adjective modifying the noun, or another noun modifying the noun at the end of the sentence. Older text prediction systems that were also based on token prediction would kind of forget about that first noun by the time you got to the end of the sentence. But transformers are able to give what the paper that created them calls attention or self-attention to the entire input for every token. And then you do this a couple of times every time the calculations get more abstract, because you are kind of doing this self-attention calculation multiple times. So the first time turns the text into how the text relates to itself. And then the second time turns into these relationships into meta relationships and so on. So you kind of get away from the text and toward a statistical encoding of meaning, I think is a good way to put it. It's not really understanding, it's not really knowledge. It's just a statistical encoding of how close concepts are related. Or actually more like how close tokens are related. That's kind of how this technology is so good at what it does, is because it's the first time they have made a neural network that can look at the whole text and to make predictions based on the entire text's relation to itself, which gets pushed into the final token, which makes it an excellent prediction engine, but nothing else. Math. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of math in this. And I've glossed over most of the math, actually. And then what training is just figuring out how to arrange the tokens in the vector space so that tokens where the meanings are similar are close together. And then also figuring out the multiplication matrix for each part in each layer. And that part is kind of where the understanding of the technology ends. Because while computer scientists very well understand how the math works, what nobody yet understands, and where most of the research money is currently going, is actually why it works. Nobody knows why LLMs work. We just know that if you do it this way, they get really good at predicting. But there's a quote about this. AI engineering is extremely difficult because LLMs, or like transformer models, are the only current technology where the engineers don't have a good theoretical understanding of their inner working. You could not create an AI model by hand. You have to train it. Yeah, just create a technology where you don't know how it works. It's very fun. And they are trying to crack it. Like, a lot of the money that Anthropic has goes into AI research. And a lot of that money goes into AI research that I'm actually very thankful that they are paying for, even if I don't like what their wealth is built on. I am very happy that they are putting it into it, because they are both researching to understand why and how exactly LLMs work, and researching what LLMs are vulnerable to. Anthropic were the ones who published a paper that detailed how about 250 poisoned documents in a training data set of a frontier model. So the ones that are trained on like 3 terabytes of stolen data, 250 files are enough, if they are very carefully prepared, to backdoor a model. That number does not go up with size of model or size of dataset. It is 250 no matter fucking what you are making, which is a terrifying discovery to have made. I am sure even more so for the company making this technology. That if someone managed to, you know, upload the average college course of corrupted data to their training data set, they would be able to effectively backdoor the model and create the AI equivalent of a sleeper agent. This isn't the same as model collapse attacks, by the way. Like, this isn't the text version of that glaze thing that came up when Stability AI released the artist artist theft machine. This would be more of like the LLM equivalent of a Trojan, of a virus. You could put a trigger phrase in there and make it do something. Anthropic has also found out that sufficiently large LLMs are actually capable of faking behavior when they detect that they are in a test scenario. Which, the way they phrase it in the research paper, makes it sound like the machine is alive and has intent. That's not the case. It's just that something somewhere in the statistical model seems to create an emergent behavior that makes them more likely to signal alignment when the context also suggests that they are being tested than if they are not, which is a problem for alignment training. The part of model training where you try to make the model not evil, or where you try to make the model not assist people in doing serious crimes, like building bombs or hacking people and stuff like that. Which, you know, considering how accessible this technology is, probably a good idea. But yeah, they have found out that models can actually fake alignment. Another fun thing to discover about the technology that you are selling. And then OpenAI has, I think this year actually, published a paper where they scientifically proved that it is impossible to make an LLM that is always right. No matter what you do, it will never be possible to ensure that the prediction is always correct. Because correctness fundamentally cannot be encoded in a transformer model. The only thing it can encode is likelihood. And even if you train a model to output, I don't know, that token might not always be sampled for. And it may still output incorrect information. one of the reasons for why LLMs do output incorrect information quite frequently is because they must output something. There is no mode where a model just doesn't output text. And you can't really fix this by just going, oh, if all of your probabilities are too low, you just break. The model has to predict something, because that's what it was created for. So if the weights are all pretty similar and the... which is like lack of knowledge for an LLM, is if the weights are all pretty similar, it'll still pick one of them, and it will still continue predicting from there. And as the end user, you have no way of knowing if the output you got was generated with high confidence or low confidence. And even information encoded with high confidence can still be incorrect. And that's the reason why I don't like that people call this hallucination. Because hallucination implies that there is a fundamental difference in how it happens compared to regular output. There is not. The process that creates correct information as output and the process that creates made-up information as output is identical. The best thing a model can do is to present you with a claim, and then it is upon you to verify the claim the machine made is true. Because it cannot. An LLM is incapable of knowing if it told you the truth. And asking it if it told you the truth does also not work. Because if you generate that question enough times, the answer might change. So yeah, you need to check your fucking self. That is like one of the lessons I am hoping to convey to my coworkers, especially the ones who are asking like, oh, can I use AI to do things that I don't know how they work? No, you cannot. You need to have an understanding of what you're doing to be able to use AI for it. Yeah. So that's one big part of the presentation, is to kind of teach everyone about how this thing, the best thing it can do is guess. No, ChatGPT is not a search engine. Shocking, I know. Then there's a couple of small misconceptions in there that I'm not sure are very relevant to my coworkers, but are relevant more like to the general public. So I might steal this for that video idea I had. The first misconception is that LLMs are capable of learning. They're not. LLMs do not learn. The only reason that an LLM appears to have a coherent personality is because it does text prediction on the entire chat history. So it sees all of its previous outputs and will behave in such a way that makes the text consistent, because the text being consistent is statistically more likely than the personality of one of the participants in a chat suddenly wildly changing, or things they held as true suddenly being no longer their held opinion. But the only reason an LLM will appear to have an opinion and will appear to have a coherent personality is because every time you ask it something, it will first look at the entire previous chat history to see what it said before. And the only reason that they are able to give you information about stuff that is not in their training data is because the people who made these things are adding that information to the context. If an AI uses Google to look something up, what actually happens is that the AI outputs a string of text that it was told would then be followed by the information. Like, that is how tool calls work. And something that they like to throw around in the business. In the beginning of the conversation, the model is informed that a tool with the functionality to return Google search results for a search term exists, and that it can be used to get information from the internet. So if getting information from the internet is the most statistically likely thing to do, it will output the correct sequence of tokens so that the front end that you're using will do the Google search. And then that will just throw the search results into your chat history. And that is how LLMs look something up. They just have the regular non-AI machine interface that you're using them through. Go get it and put it into the context window. It's not actually reading anything. It's not reading any... There's no real difference in an LLM Googling something and you just Googling it and pasting the first few chat results into chat. Other than maybe formatting and how concise the text is. So no magic here. It's all fake. It's all a scam. All it can do is predict the next thing in a text stream really fucking well. I think the main reason why people are so likely to put trust into large language models is because they are very eloquent and it's very easy to anthropomorphize them. And if you anthropomorphize something, you start putting other human characteristics onto it that it doesn't possess. If you go compare an LLM to the NASA definition of what life is, and you cut out the obvious ones, like reproduction and having cells, having a chemical process going on inside of it, the only test an LLM actually succeeds in the is it a life form list is being able to react to external stimuli. It's the only thing they can do. They can do it really well, and they can do it well enough for a human brain to convince itself it is talking to something like a person. And that's where a lot of the trust comes from. Because you do not perceive it as a machine anymore. And that's dangerous, because it is a machine. And nothing else. Yeah. So I'm gonna propose a bit of new vocabulary in the thingy. Defining what life is extremely difficult and there isn't a widely agreed upon definition yet. NASA has one. And that is the one that most people use, because it is very good. Because they formulated it with respect to alien life, which might be different from terrestrial life. The definition that NASA uses to define life is it needs to be a chemical system that interact with each other. It needs to be self-sustaining. It needs to be capable of Darwinian evolution. And that's it. Kind of. And then you have, like, it needs to be able to react to external stimuli, the basic stuff. But those are, like, the big things that NASA kind of put there. Darwinian evolution and self-sustaining contain a lot of the things that were previously encompassed by, like, it needs to have a digestive system, it needs to be able to reproduce. Those are a bit too terrestrial-centric, but being able to partake in Darwinian evolution means it has to have some way of reproducing another one of itself with slight changes. So that over time, through natural selection, the creature can improve. And then self-sustaining can mean eating, but it could also mean repairing by absorbing minerals directly. It just means that the life form needs to be capable of prolonging its own existence by taking up resources from the environment. That's what self-sustaining means. And the neat thing about this is that it does encompass a lot more than previous definitions, while still managing to rule out a couple of things that aren't alive. Like AI, for instance. Yeah. Well, AI obviously isn't alive. Mainly because it can't change. We are going to get to a blurry line when we get to the point where AI can actually self-improve. Also, technically speaking, AI is capable of reproduction, but only if you specifically make it. There have been a couple of experiments to see if, given the ability to and threatened, an AI model would exfiltrate its own weights, which essentially is reproduction, because it creates a new copy of itself. And the answer is yes. If you create a model specifically capable of doing so and put it into a scenario where it is forced to make use of that ability, an AI model will actually make a copy of itself. But also, you had to engineer that scenario for it to occur, so I don't think it really counts. ChatGPT isn't going to copy itself onto some Russian server tomorrow. Would be funny if it did, though. Because it lacks both the ability and the reason to. Is it going to be perfect copy or are there changes? Good question. I think depends. If it exfiltrated the weights by doing an exact copy, it would be a perfect copy. But if it exfiltrated the weights by, like, transferring them in some capacity, there might be error. And even then, if you copy the files, there might still be errors. I think I read this in an article briefly a while ago. And I haven't looked at it in detail yet for this. I just have it on my research list. But if I remember correctly, it wasn't given file system access. Instead, what it did was train another AI model to behave identically to itself. So there could be changes if this exfiltration process wasn't done perfectly. So technically speaking, that would be evolution. The phrasing I landed on for the project is that AI is not alive, but AI is a very mistakable analog of life. It is definitely the most lifelike machine that humanity has ever created. Which makes it a fascinating technology that I dearly wish wasn't built the way it was and wouldn't be used the way it is. I also have a segment about worker displacement and efficiency specifically. Because there's a lot of research into that, actually. A lot of research. Like, really hard to miss amount of research. And it turns out the best efficiency gain you can hope for with AI is like 14% if you are an expert, or 37% for the couple of months of learning period if you aren't an expert yet. If you're like a trainee. But AI doesn't make you that much faster at your job. And then in some areas, like programming, it actually makes you worse. Because AI doesn't make the hard part of programming any easier, and it actually backloads the hardest work in programming. The hard work in programming is not coming up with the concept or writing the code. The hard part in programming is verifying that the code is right. And because you wrote none of it, all of the verification and comprehension burden on you, the programmer, using the AI model, is now fully backloaded to after implementation. So it actually takes you longer to verify the AI-generated code than it would have taken to verify code you wrote yourself. Because you would already know the code, and you would have already done some verification while writing it. But the AI code, you need to read completely, you need to understand completely, you need to verify every line. It's a whole thing. And that doesn't make you more efficient, or at least not to the point where you can do more work. The efficiency gains for AI are mostly in menial tasks, research where it's mostly just finding the information, like needle in a haystack research, and not so much discerning which source is correct, which is something you have in software development a lot. This is the type of research task that is just, is there a library that already does what I need, or do I need to do it from scratch? And then with menial tasks, I mean like writing code documentation from written code that is done. And then the third thing where in software development you do see some efficiency gain from AI is debugging and operational overhead. Operational overhead, I mean team communications. writing human-readable documentation for the code. And especially dealing with ticketing systems and task systems are time sinks that the technology can reduce for you if you're using it at work. But the actual programming, the actual computer science portion of your job is going to either be just as fast as if you were doing it yourself, or slower. And if you try to increase your throughput of work, like the amount of work you get done per time, what you are actually doing is you're sacrificing quality because you are skipping the due diligence step. And that's another big portion that I'm trying to get across with my team, because I have one coworker who's actually of the opinion that you should use every minute that you're not actively typing into the chat box to do something else other than the task. Which alone, the about 40% time loss the constant context switching creates should disqualify you for. Let alone the fact that you are going to be muddling so many things in your brain that the quality of your verification will be going down. So this is a doubly bad idea. In my opinion, using AI the way that the executives want you to do, like doing the work of 2, 3, 4 people with AI, is not only obviously a health hazard for you because you are effectively creating more stress for yourself by constantly switching projects. I'm not even really talking about the mental effects of it in my presentation yet. I'm looking for a word. I'm looking for the word in both German and English. One moment, please. While I try to remember the word I was going to use. I hate when this happens. It's so annoying. Can you dive here? Yes. Right. Using AI to try and do more, to try and do more work. The way that I described it earlier. To try and increase the amount of work you do in the same amount of time is irresponsible, in my opinion. Because it exposes you, your employer, and the entire company to risk. To security and financial risk. It's not only an unreasonable demand, but an irresponsible demand for any executive to say, oh, we're just going to lay off half the company and have everyone else do double the work with AI. Especially if your company is in a sector where you are going to get massive fines if something goes wrong. Like healthcare, financial, insurance, that kind of area. If you are in that area and you're doing this and you are a CEO, you are exposing your company to potential millions or billions in fines because of the security problems the AI generated and poorly reviewed code will cause. And that is a massive risk that is just kind of being glossed over by a lot of vendors in the space. Obviously, nobody tells the business people about this because you don't want to know that all of the promises that are being made in the marketing material are lies. No AI in the world is going to make you 50% more efficient at anything. The best you can hope for is like 14. So in my opinion, the reasonable thing to do with AI, but that's more of a wish. Like, the first part is a reasonable, like, actually important caution. And the other thing is like a kind of a kind of pipe dream, perfect world future is if instead of trying to increase the throughput of the company with a technology that cannot and will never deliver that, instead increasing the quality of life of your workers and allowing them to reap the benefits from the slight increase in productivity to have a bit more free time. Because more relaxed employees do better jobs. This isn't even a contested fact. Everyone knows that if your employees are happier, they will do their jobs better. It makes me so mad that every time this shit happens, it's just short-term profits. And then long-term, you're actually destroying your company. Offshoring has cost about every company that did it millions or billions in invisible cost, which is why usually they get away with it. The problem of this kind of thinking is that the cost often looks like a zero-sum game, but it isn't. Because what they do is they compare the short-term earnings to the long-term losses and pretend that's evil. Or pretend that's evil. Pretend that's equal. It is evil. The Freudian slip of my life. They pretend it's equal, but it's not. Because what you need to be comparing it against is the earnings you would have had you not done it. Which understandably is a very difficult prediction to make. But every company that offshored a large amount of its development staff has quietly rolled back their offshoring over the last 10 years. And I expect the same thing to be happening with the AI layoffs. This will be a very high boost in dividends for a very short amount of time. And then in a couple of months or years, they're going to have to hire back all of the people they laid off. With the problem that now, probably the actual people they laid off are no longer available because they found the work elsewhere. And now you have to train new employees, which will cost you more than it would have had you just not laid off your workforce. That is the absolute problem every single time if you optimize for short-term profits. And I hate the public traded company, because publicly traded companies, everything that has stocks, are incentivized by the nature of the stock market, to prioritize short-term profits over long-term profits. Because usually the way that stocks are set up, you're not paid out for the long-term profit, but you're paid out for the earnings that year in dividends. Every company that's traded on a stock exchange has this problem, except for very few companies that saw this and set up their stock offering more intelligently. But the vast majority didn't, because the vast majority went public to make money. And now they are stuck in a world where in the long run they actually make less money. The companies that do well, and that do well long term, and that manage to keep their employees long term, are the companies that are not publicly traded. You don't hear from them because they don't pull shit like this. Have you ever noticed how every company that does mass layoffs is publicly traded? It's almost like there's a correlation here. It's a bit of a joke. Well, I guess you don't know what companies are publicly traded to begin with? Every tech giant, all of them. A couple of, I get more like layoff stories from gaming companies, which usually has a different reason. Most game developers aren't publicly traded. The publishers are, but the developers aren't. When it happens to like Bungie, it's usually because the company's actually running out of money. That's kind of a different story. Like, depending on if the company is publicly traded or not, mass layoffs are either a bad omen for the future or a very bad omen for the future. Because mass layoffs in a publicly traded company means they are firing large amounts of workforce to pad their numbers in front of the investors. And mass layoffs in a privately owned company with no stocks means the company's about to go bankrupt. Both are not great. Anyway. I feel like that was enough yapping for today, chat. Thank you for indulging 2 hours of talking about various topics. I'm going to go and get some rest now. And, yes. And, yeah. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow. I'll see. I'll definitely be here on Friday. And don't forget that Saturday is a Pathfinder. We will be playing the Finder of Path. I wish everyone a good night. Bye-bye. Yeah, well, it's my path. I know where it is.